Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea. The GSL has started again, and that means we have some GSL replays. Today starting in the bottom right as our blue PROTOSS Classic, and in the top left as the red Terran player TY. Yes, he's back. Of course, he qualified for the GSL. I think most people were at least somewhat aware of that. If you weren't, then now you know. And here he is playing, going up against Classic. Now, TY currently on the ladder, I checked, is 5.8k MMR, I believe. 5.8k MMR. That is not very good. That is actually, for a GSL level player, quite bad. Now, if this was anyone else than TY, I would be slightly worried, but as this is TY, I actually don't give a crap. TY is one of those players that throughout his career always had good results, even when his ladder ranking was absolutely in the gutter. He became the world champion when he was 6.4k MMR. Now, for the people that don't know much about MMR, 6.4k MMR, that's like being ranked 30 on the ladder. I don't know of anyone else that is this low on the ladder while simultaneously winning serious games in tournaments. So this can mean either two things. Either he just doesn't give a crap about ladder and is just using it for fun, or B, he is the world's greatest tournament player ever. It legitimately makes no sense. And right now he's 5.8. That's really low on the ladder. I know for a lot of people that's very high, but for a professional player, that is legitimately insane. There's like hundreds of people that can beat you. The fact that he made the GSL altogether is very impressive with something like that. All right, what do we have over here? We have a mine coming up. What is this? This is also a mine. It's going to be a double mine opener. Maybe triple mine even. I would prefer double mine into Tech Lab here. I think this is one of the most intelligent builds. I think TY has the uncanny ability to look at basically every build that exists and then kind of figure out which one is the best one. And I honestly believe that this is one of the best builds. He is playing a pretty awful game so far. Losing a Marine for free, now losing his SCV as well, has not been mining from his natural altogether. I love the build order, but I don't love the execution so far of everything here in the early game. It's going to be in time with the depot race, which is somewhat important. There's going to be a 3-gate blink opener for Classic, as this medevac is making its way over in towards the natural. Might barely not get spotted. Yep, will not get spotted. That means that these stalkers will not be in the correct position. And as a result, these probes at least will be forced into pulling back. If these mines manage to escape, that would be a very good start here for TY. And this indeed is a very good start for TY. Blink will finish up, but it's not going to be in time to catch this medevac. At the same time, 2Adept still alive on the map. TY is hunting for them. Is Classic going to be quick enough with the response? Yes. Classic has really fast reflexes. It is very, very impressive to watch. 30C gets thrown down here as well for TY. Every Terran worldwide right now is confused, because usually when look at this. Let's take a look at what TY saw. TY saw, I guess 4 gases, no third base. Like, this is most likely going to be some type of serious pressure. You know, it's going to be something with blink most likely. TY just doesn't give a crap. Yeah, 30C. We're all good. Don't worry about it. 30C. Quick little 30Z, alright. Double depots being thrown on at this point before the extra barracks, which is a little bit confusing. Raven is in position. This medevac is just booting about. Pew, pew. Boosting in, boosting out. First Colossus is about to pop out as well. This wasn't actually a prism with this, and it's somewhat surprising. I don't mind 3-gate blink, but I really do feel like you kind of want to do something aggressive with that. Getting such a late third base just to then not do anything with that. Like, I guess he has slightly faster tech, but the guy still has a decently sized army. He was playing Mech. I mean, this is not actually a composition. This is not actually a composition. Okay, I actually haven't seen this in a very long time. I I don't quite know what to expect then. Because, double armory, eBay coming down. Let's have a look to see what's going to happen here, because I can't really predict it. We have a reactor on this starport. I wonder if he's actually going to be using that for something. Or is it, you know, do you want to get Vikings with this? I mean, it might be possible. I don't know if you do want that. I wouldn't completely mind it. I think I saw a Cyclone earlier as well being produced, but perhaps didn't end up finishing. Yeah, must have just cancelled that instead and gotten a tank. 3 more depots coming in, so really just finishing that wall. We have a prism, second forge, second robo already. So Classic is kind of playing blind here. Saying, hey, what? He's playing... Yeah, I mean, you really never expect this. Like, I know people are going to look at it and say, well, why won't Classic just scout? It's so easy. It's like, well, because you never have to scout, right? In the past 600 games that Classic has played against Terran, literally no one has played Mech against him. Like, I can almost guarantee you that Classic hasn't played a PvT versus Mech in over a year. Like, he just hasn't. So he's kind of going blind here. And he's gonna get the information at this point. Because he's confused, like, hey, what is happening? He's a bunker, a lot of tanks, no upgrades on the Marines, and Hellions being added in. And now he gets the full scout, the full confirmations. Target immediately gets thrown down. Now, this isn't necessarily a very bad army against Mech. As long as you have disruptors, it's really hard to move out for the Terran. Oh my god. Yeah, maybe don't want to try that. There's legitimately 6 tanks in position to shoot you at any point. I don't think a prism should be going in here either. Like, all of these things are really cool if your opponent is moving out. But your opponent currently isn't moving out. There's a big scan there. It's going to see that a Stargate is being thrown down. We have, hopefully, the cybernetics core researching +1 at this point. I reckon that's the correct call. Is this the graphitic drive? Yep, War Prism speed coming in. That actually is going to be somewhat helpful. And I think most of the time, as a PROTOSS player in this situation, what do you want to do? Well, you just... Well, actually, I'm not so sure. I think you wanted to delay your opponent's move out and really work with massive types of run-bys. Mech is awful against run-bys because they can't easily split off small parts of the army to send back home. So you get like a Stalker Zealot run-by or like an Archon Zealot run-by. There's no tanks in position, there's no Hellbats there. They can't really send back like 10 Hellions and then morph them into Hellbats to deal with those. Because it will be just too late. And also they just don't kill it very fast. Ooh. Big anti-armor missile here is going to connect. 2 more Stargates are on the way. This is kind of scary, honestly. Here comes the Prism into the natural. Now, this is an issue. Zealots simultaneously also moving in over here. This is a decent Zealot count, and Hellions are going to try and pop back. Just back towards the tanks, back towards the Marines. 12 workers have gone down, and that isn't even the biggest thing here. So you look at this situation and say, wow, that was great, 12 workers, but lots of Zealots went down. I think the biggest thing in this situation is that you gave Classic a little bit more breathing room. It's gonna come in, big Disruptor hit is going to connect. Couple more are going to connect, and this is the type of move that just allows you to pretty much trade for free. We have that 5th base coming in right now. Prism is trying to get back in here, but will most likely just get taken out at this point by these Vikings. Barracks will spot that there's a gateway with a pylon in this particular location as the 4th base is finally being set up here. Now do note that the 4th base of TY is at the same timing as the 5th base of Classic. Classic is opening up with carriers here. I don't know what I feel about that. Like, how good are carriers? Usually not great, but if your opponent has no anti-air at all, they can perhaps do something. The thing I'm a little bit worried about here for Classic is that he will try to kill this with a bunch of carriers. And I don't think you can actually do that. If there's Vikings out, there's preemptive turrets already. Zealot run-bys are being sent in. I don't really mind this at all. I actually think this is quite good. Tanks being taken out by Disruptors. That was a lot of tanks that went down there. The last one will survive. Yeah, will stay alive. He's going to shade in the depth on top of it, and most likely he's going to take it out with the help of Splash, if I'm not mistaken. Oh! Maybe the adept can get it? No, we'll not get it. Not quite. The SCV repair was definitely helping out over there. New CC is on the way, don't forget. Low orbital command count. Now, one thing we do have to keep in mind at all times is that Classic's army is kind of small at this point. His mobile anti-air force is garbage, which means that Vikings are the more maneuverable unit in this entire exchange. That's really going to be the case here. Carriers are less maneuverable than Vikings. I think pure Viking against pure carrier is actually not that bad for the Vikings either. You need some type of assistance in order to properly deal with these Vikings. And whether there's going to be Tempest, Storm, Blink Stalkers, or a combination of all of that, I don't really care, but you're gonna need something else. So you see Classic now starting a pilot. I think he's actually trying to get a bit of a battery wall here. And that I wouldn't mind at all. I would not mind that at all. Momentarily, though, I just don't think he has enough stuff. Like, he can't seriously think that he can just move in here with 6 carriers. I don't even think he can be around. Because if the carriers, they kind of go forward, then the Vikings can snipe them at any point. In my mind. Like, the moment the interceptors aren't out, here we go, anti-armor missile gets shot out. That's going to be 1 carrier, that's going to be 2 carriers. There's not enough anti-air. This is exactly what I was talking about. Every single carrier in a lot of trouble. Viking count has been diminished by a decent chunk. 3 more Tempests come in as well. But TY so far has pretty much stabilized. Well, pretty much. He has stabilized. There's no doubt in my mind here. We now have a fusion core on the way as well. So it's going to be taking this into Mech, BC, Viking, I guess. It has good vehicle plating upgrades, but ship weapons is of course what you truly want if you're playing BCs. Aliens going in for a run by. Let's take a look at the vision of... According to TY Classic, 13 minutes in is still on 2 bases. He hasn't gathered any information since. This is ridiculous. Tempest gonna turn around, will most likely take out one of these Vikings. No, they won't. Oracle here. I love this setup. The way that Classic is playing this is 100% correct in my mind. The one thing you might want to criticize him for is how low or how high his probe count is. You could almost say it's like, hey, do we really need 88 workers at this point? I'm not sure what my thoughts are on this. I just don't know. Because there's 2 things you can do, right? You can get like high gateway counts, you can get a lot of production with a lot of cash in the bank and then try to continuously trade, or you can eventually try and break your opponent. I love the Tempest in this particular situation, by the way. I think they add so much more than the carrier does. Like, ever since the Tempest have popped out, I feel like this has been going much, much better here for Classic. Well, that thought is now 2 Tempests are going to get sniped. That is a little bit frustrating. Oh, a little bit. That's quite frustrating. We have the Templar Archives coming in. Finally. It took a while, but Storm is a huge asset majority of the time against Vikings. Because you only need to hit 1 Storm to damage all Vikings at the same time. This gateway is finally being assaulted by SCVs, out of all things. As we're gonna get a ground switch back here out of Classic, and I think that's not actually that bad of a move. I mean, there's not that many units. There's 9 tanks, 21 Vikings, and 1 Raven. That really is about it. Now, mines might make this a little bit harder, but there's Disruptors to clear that out. I think a couple of Archons would actually be freaking huge. It's not quite going to be the case here. This is just a straight up Zealot attack. This was not good. This really was not good. I think if you're going to make such a transition into pure ground, you really need to take out your own Colossi. You need to try and make sure that you don't have too many air units left. And I think Archons are absolutely key when it comes to tanking. More Zealots are moving in right now. Classic just throwing away a lot of units pretty much for free. Not hugely fond of that, to be quite honest. Did create a bit of an opener for himself. There's only 3 tanks remaining, actually. Well, I said I'm not usually fond of this, but I mean 3 tanks is simply not enough. If Classic would have continued pushing here into 3 tanks, he would have just won the game, right? I mean, he has so many Disruptors as well. He could have definitely cleared a planetary somewhere. Anti-armor is going to connect with these Colossi, as the first BCs are now entering the pitch. There's cannons at most bases. Ideally have some type of battery as well to really properly deal with it. As this is starting to smell more and more like a complete split map scenario. TY is just playing a complete one-man show here. Like, he just doesn't care about what his opponent does. He's like, yeah, harassment, that's for idiots. You know what's cool? SimCity. That's what's cool. Back in my day, all we did is SimCity. That's right. Another tank gets taken out for free here. I still think that a transition into Storm is not necessarily a bad thing. One could even say that it might be a good thing. More zealots are being warped in, and I do believe that at this point, Classic needs to start worrying about things like efficiency. Boring things like efficiency, I should say, because God knows that efficiency is quite boring to think about. But yes, you have a lot of money right now, but later on in the game that might not be the case anymore. Mines are splattered around, Planetary is being assaulted here by a bunch of zealots. But the mines are helping out a decent chunk here. Tempest moving back home. More Tempests are on the way as we see Dark Stride. I thought I saw the Mother... Yeah, okay, Mothership has finished as well. This is such a weird setup. This honestly feels really difficult. I'm just wondering, you know, like, how would you want to deal with this ideally? I'm not entirely sure if I'm Classic in this case. Like, once BCs are out, BCs are such a volatile threat. Like, they can go anywhere. They're super annoying. They can blink, they can Yamato, which makes them a brilliant harassment unit and also brilliant at defense. So if you just split your main army and a low count of BCs, or even a higher count of BCs, life is just going to suck generally. Now, we have Blink Dark Templar. There's no ground units, but there are a bunch of mines just kind of send around the map. DT's moving in. This is a dead planetary 100%, right? Yeah. 100%. Oh, this goes for a turret? This is a mistake. What? What are you doing, buddy? Okay, now Blink's on top. It's like, that was fun, but taking on a planetary is a lot more fun. Can use this, of course, to recall to one side, and then use the Nexus to recall to the other. I really like that, actually. Because then if he gets pulled out of position, he can recall back pretty much instantly. If he wants to, that is. If he wants to. What? That's not a good blink. Oh, come on, Classic. Classic's going to lose all of his DTs here, or a bunch of them at least, pretty much for free. That spot where everything is. It's such a poor army. I think that is really what's bothering me. It's like there's just so many carriers in this army, which I don't think... Carriers by themselves are not actually that good. Like, they really aren't. People think that carriers by themselves are really good, but what makes carriers good is that Storm is usually around. Like, Storm is the real game changer. Yeah, now we're seeing Templar being warped in, but we don't actually have Storm researched yet. I hope that Classic realizes it. If he morphs into Archons, I'm also going to freak out, by the way. I do not think that is a very good call. Another thing that I wouldn't mind seeing out of Classic here is just kind of... Look at this box. What is this? Reptile, great. It's just getting like a cannon wall. Well, not a cannon wall, but 7, 8... No, that's a cannon wall. Like 7, 8 cannons, 3, 4 batteries with it as well. Just so you have a little bit of, you know, reaction time if a base is under attack. Now, this DT most likely is going to end up falling. I don't think there's very much it can do. PCs are looking for it, will not quite find it. This base is now officially toast, and this base is also going to be toast, I think. Oracle's on the way. Now, Oracle is absolutely key in these defensive interactions. Don't forget that. Now, why is that the case, you might be asking? Oh, Harstem, why is the Oracle key? Well, the moment you can tag the Battlecruisers, and they blink back, you know where they are, so you know where to attack. Which is kind of a big deal. It's the only thing that truly matters. This is such a stupid game to watch. I can't believe that TY decided to play Mech. in the final match of his group. That's really crazy to me. Freaking Mech. It's not even a real composition. I guess on this map it makes some sense. It's really hard to kill Terran already. And that often is an issue that Mech struggles with. Okay, 3 tanks get taken out for free. This turret wall also gets blasted. I think the moment you start losing control of the watchtowers is usually not a very good moment. It really is not a very good moment. Serious push forward. And I love how he's using these Vikings as like a harassment tool as well. He's just using them on one side while he's using the rest on the other. Not sure if you can actually fight this though, like stalkers by themselves. This is also why I think cannons would have been great. Okay, here we go, big fight, Yamato's going down, but we also have a lot of teleports back. I'm not sure how many stalkers or carriers ended up falling there, but I think it was a couple after all. There are still some storms available. This was a really nice engagement for Classic, who manages to take this out. Now teleports back home. I almost feel like that wasn't really necessary, as stalkers are just bumping around over here, taking out one Raven, trying to snipe that second Raven. Of course, anti-armor is absolutely huge when you have units that fire as quickly as Battlecruisers do, and also with Vikings it's massive. Of course, with a double shot. Wouldn't mind seeing a new mothership. Okay, yeah, we are producing that Void Race coming out. That is somewhat surprising. It's not necessarily a unit that I rate very highly against Vikings or against BCs or against Ravens. And that's really all there is right now. We have 11 BCs, 25 Vikings, and 1 Raven. And as TY earlier had a really high work count, right now his goal seems to be to survive with as little workers as possible, so that his army can get a little bit bigger. Now, one thing that is important to note, and some of you might find quite interesting, is that he only has 4 orbital commands. You'd reckon that after having 100 workers or so, or however many he had, is that he, you know... Oh, hold that thought. And so Yamatos are going down. Void Race in a bit of trouble. 1, 2, 3, 4, I think. And 3 ended up falling. 1 Tempest also went down. Here comes the blink forward. Storms on the Vikings are big. Is there reinforcement ability here? Yes, there is. How many gates do we have? There's only 11 gates. I think we should have been at 16 at least at this point, as Classic is getting butchered over here. This is not a close fight at all. Holy crap. 10 carriers in production at once. It's like, my 7 carriers did basically no damage. Maybe if I have 10, it will work better. Warps in 11 Zealots as well. Still, of course, Classic has a lot of cash in the bank, but his gas count is actually starting to run out a little bit. Really needs to get these 2 Vespene geysers going, as he adds 6 more gateways as well. I don't actually think that TY lost a whole lot in that last engagement, which is crazy. That is really, really crazy. And you know what I love even more? Is that TY decided, you know what? I've been trading quite well this game. I'm free. Holy crap. He's up 14k in resources lost. It's like, well, what actually happens if I don't attack? Because a lot of Terrans, they look at that fight and they say, okay, time to win. Then they go into the opponent's main base and they end up like bleeding out BCs and Vikings. TY just said, no, actually. That's not what I want to do. I'm just going to continue playing the same game, because that game has been working for me. My opponent hasn't mined any of my bases yet. I've been doing a good job denying all of that crap. Hell, Classic hasn't even really mined his own bases quite yet. The only thing that TY might be struggling with is the fact that he doesn't have so much cash in the bank. But then again, neither does Classic at this point. More SCVs are being taken out. Now we're seeing some being rebuilt as turrets are falling. Here comes another attack on the left side. I don't think you can hold this with just Vikings though, but I might be wrong. Love to see an observer here to clear these 2 mines. This base is toast officially now. 11 Stalker warping coming in as well. We have a new mothership on the way. Where's all these units? Okay, here we go. Did he cancel the carriers? Yeah, end up cancelling the carriers. He's got 9 Tempests instead. I think that is an okay call. I think that's a very okay call even. Blink in, blink in. Can we get that? That's the planetary instead. Stalkers are really quite powerful by themselves against BCs. Low numbers of BCs, Stalkers are very powerful. Very, very powerful. As more and more turrets are being taken out, I like this as well. This is good. This genuinely is good. I also feel like that at this point for TY, there's really no reason not to have any ghost in this composition. Can I just say that? Yeah, I can say that. It's gonna recall, right? Has to, yeah. One stalker. Is that a mothership recall? Oh! Huge blink forward here. One BC gets taken out, but so will this mothership. Couple more Yamatos going down on these stalkers. These were some okay trades here in my mind for Classic, who's just playing such a flexible, mobile little game here. Now trying to move in with Zealot. Templar needs to be careful. There are mines around. Not sure what it, what it does for you if you start taking out these refineries that have already been mined. But Classic believes there's some point here to it. One more BC does get taken out. This orbital command perhaps in some trouble as well. Could try and fight it. Take a look at the overall building count. Still 4 orbital commands. This Classic now has this base, but is not quite saturating it, which is, in my mind, an issue. Observers should have been probably built a while ago. I feel like we really have been lacking observers, and some of these mines have just been, not just for scouting purposes, but just in general, they've been crazy, in my mind. Okay, here comes the Zealot Stalker attack. Now, Vikings are trying to land. Needs to be somewhat careful with it, though. Viking DPS is not that bad. Especially if there is no splash. Like, if there's no Disruptors, there's no Immortals. Immortals aren't splash, but they're still good against Vikings. This Classic is... what is this? It's getting Banshees? I think Ghost would be really good here. I don't quite understand why Ghost aren't out. Like, half the HP of every unit in the entire game. Oh, would be quite a big deal. Have a big jump back home as Zealots continue to go in. I don't really mind the Zealots because there's just so much cash and there's almost nothing else here. This is really scary though. This is really, really scary. If your name is Classic right now, this is scary. It feels like you only have one army left and that's it. She's going to continuously just send in Zealots, I guess. Which is not really a bad call, but he's out of gas. He's not mining anymore. He's not mining any gas whatsoever. Wait, what? He has 2 completely full gases here. That's a huge deal. What? I don't think Classic is aware of that. I don't think Classic is aware of that at all. Oh, no. Oh, here come 2 mine shots. Pretty big. Pretty big indeed. Oracle misses the Revelation altogether. Doesn't hit the mines. Doesn't hit the BCs either. This is still going pretty ham. Oh my god. This double gas is freaking huge. Like, actually. That is 4k gas. It's 4.5k gas. That is not being used right now by Classic. That would have been massive. Because then you have real reinforcements with this all of a sudden. You can start warping in Stalkers if you want to. Boom, 10, 20 Stalkers at a time. That's absolutely no issue. No issue whatsoever. Now you have to do with these Zealot run-bys the entire time. It's losing. Oh my god. Come on, just take out these mines. Like, observers need to be doing this. It's gonna start flying in towards the main base? Doesn't quite get anything there. Where's that mothership? Mothership absolutely vital here. With the recall, of course. So we're gonna see a blink on top of this army, I think. Maybe take out the orbital command. In my mind, that would be the perfect call, right? And now your recall. Maybe a little bit earlier. Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. Nice little recall. You have 2 of these bad boys over here. The fact that Classic wants to mine this base so bad makes sense, but at the same time, it's like, well, hey, we still have some very valuable resources in this location. Oh, it was a recall from the Nexus, not from the mothership, actually. That's crazy. That is crazy. Just kill these mines for the love of God, dude. You can't seriously continuously walk through it. 2 kills each. Literally every mine here has 2 kills, except for this one, it has 3. He's the king of the mines. I am number 1. 16 Vikings. Was that 14 DCs? Yeah. More Zealots being taken out. Resources lost 63k to 48k. This base is mining though, and that is the real issue. As this once again is flying in. We'll try and take out some of these mines. Oh, here come the Vikings. We'll start working on this little army. The BCs are largely out of position. Here comes a blink in. Needs a recall. And loses a bunch of crap here. Doesn't really have the resources to rebuild. The fact that this is not... that he didn't mine from the gas is just... upsets me. It is too much. There's so many things that are upsetting me here. I really feel like that Classic had a good chance in this game. Even after the BCs and the Vikings were right. Now, TY played a marvelous game, don't get me wrong, but it does feel like I mean, there's a reason why we don't see Mech, right? I'm starting to kind of forget the reason, though, because this did look kind of convincing. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, it looked quite nice. Didn't even use Thors either. I always feel like Thors are so good, but perhaps Viking BC is the future. Cell is moving forward. Starting to work on that sensor tower. BC is now teleporting forward. BC count is at 13, but there's only like 4 or 5 BCs necessary, required here. GG gets called. TY wins game number 1 in this best of 3 with freaking Mech. Yeah. That's wild. That is actually pretty freaking crazy in my mind. Holy cow. Resource lost 56k against 72k. And we'll be heading into game number 2. Alright, next game here is going to be played over on altitude. It's just so funny to me. Because whenever you talk with Terran players... I talk with Terran players a decent amount. Now, not too much, of course. You gotta stop the brain rot, but... I talk with them a decent chunk, okay? Whenever I talk with Terran players, which maps do they dislike the most? So in New Humanity, it says awful. Unplayable. Can't win. Can't win, Kevin, they say. This map, unwinnable. You look at that in a TVP, say no. Can't win it. I say, okay, fair. New Humanity, you know, good for turtling for TOS. Hard to break as a Terran. I'm feeling you, Terran players. Okay. What is the second worst map? Or the second veto? I say, Kevin, let me tell you. Altitude. That map, truly unplayable. Okay, you can't... Map is too large. New Humanity, too small, too tight. But altitude, too large. Can't take a 5th base. How do I win the early game? Yeah, I mean, units take years to get across the map. I say, okay, Terran players, fair. That's very fair. No, what does TY do? I don't even know what he vetoed. Literally every other map is good for Terran. I don't even know what he would pick. I guess he vetoed Dragon Skills, maybe, afraid of Blink. Reaper's coming in after Marine. Marine into Reaper. Old school move here. Very old school. Initially invented by Spirit, I believe. Or the first one I saw make that move was definitely Spirit. As this Reaper is going to get 2 kills here. And this is a very good start here already on this unplayable map. Now, there is a proxy Stargate, which hasn't achieved anything yet, but is on the way to achieving brilliant and great things. I can only imagine, at least. As this Reaper is now moving back in towards the natural. Oracle, looking for kills. Cyclone on the way out, though. The second barracks is out already. I actually think this proxy Oracle is going to do absolutely nothing. It hasn't been spotted, but TY has figured it out, that's for sure. Second refinery coming down here as well. And the question is, what will the follow-up be? For both players, as we see 3 gates, or 2 gates being added, going up to 3 gates here for Classic. Oracle pops in, sees the Cyclone, and decides to run away to try and preserve its life, which I think is the correct call. Twilight Council will be the follow-up here. Stim starts. Is this going to be like a 2-1-1 type of follow-up? We don't see a 3rd barracks quite yet. This should be it. No, it's going to be a starport. Okay, so it will be I think some type of 2-1-1 then. It's a different 2-1-1 than you usually see, because there's that early Cyclone. But I don't completely mind it. And this is a build that Classic has been playing for a little bit now. Not necessarily with the proxy Oracle, but just with one Oracle into Blink, into Robotics Facility. Now, sometimes you see a build order And you think to yourself, that looks really sick. You know? They're building all the units. Is it Oracle? That's cool for vision. Is it Twilight Council? For Blink, for mobility. And a robotics facility for Colossus or Immortals. Most likely Colossus. Like, this is one of those builds that you write out in your notebook when you're on the plane. You know, you're going to a tournament. You know, it'd be cool if I could play Stargate into Twilight into Robo, and double Forge before my third. I get a Dark Shrine, so I have some counter harassment. Then when you play the build, you realize you don't have enough cash for everything, okay? And your third base starts going down at the 5-minute mark. What I'm trying to say is that, yes, you're getting a lot of different cool things with this build, but all of them are delayed because you're getting so many at the same time. Like, Blink is late. The only thing that was in time so far has been the Oracle, and that achieved nothing. It has 0 kills. Blink is late. Colossi are late. Third Nexus is insanely late. So even if this early game technically looks quite good for Classic, I don't even necessarily like his position. He's only up 1 worker right now. His CC, or his Nexus, is only slightly faster than his opponent's CC. He doesn't have upgrades. To be fair, neither does TY, but let's not mention that too much. Like, if this was any other build, I feel like Classic would just be in a really good spot, just given on... as to that he completely figured out this early game, you know? If it would have just been Blink into Charge, and not that there would be a third base already, and maybe we'd be up to 8 gate base, you know? Like, the supply for TY is extremely low at this certain timing in the game. So yeah, I'm not so... yeah, I'm not so sure about this build. I really am not so sure. Too many things happening at the same time in my mind. Too many things. Still no Forge Eater over here, as the 30C has been spotted, so it would be a possibility to throw down 1 or 2 Forges, but yeah. 2 worker advantage currently for TY. As this CC is about to finish up. And Barracks 4 and 5 go online. This is a really bad army, by the way. I'm just surprised how bad TY's army is. He just has no units at all. Like 7 minutes and 13 seconds in the game, he has 103 supply. Like, that's not good. That's really not good. There should be no pressure that's capable of coming out of this. Oracle's going to be taken out here by the Cyclone. Yep, there we go. Cyclone range is insane. I think it's very safe, though. Whenever you see a Cyclone lockout, to just say that the Oracle will die. Even if you truly believe that it won't, you're gonna be right more often than not. This is the philosophy that I live by. Never look at the individual situation, because the range is twice as long as you truly believe it should be. You say that the Cyclone will get the kill. It's always right. Literally 90% of the time. Okay, you're correct. Vikings straight after here. 4 medevac into Viking. Once again, TY kind of playing how he did before he left, I guess. Nowadays, it's all about the medevac multitasking, but TY says, no, actually, you know what I can do? I can build tanks. I can build Marauders. I can get Vikings. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. And you have these really powerful tank timings with 3-4 Ghosts. Not easy to deal with. Not easy to deal with. Classic, however, doesn't want to wait for the Ghost to be out. Doesn't want to wait for anything to be out, as he's setting up a massive attack here. Did just reveal the fact that he's in position to have a go. And his opponent blinks into the tank. A debatable call here. Of course, he did feel the need to do something because, well, he has no upgrades. He has no future in this game, but this was a weird one, no? Disruptor's on the way. Finally, double forges start working. Good lord. I mean, this is just it's absolute pain here for Classic. That was not a good fight. That was a lot of things, but not a good fight. Still so surprised to see these forges being in there so late. We have Disruptors now being sent out, as Classic has started to sweat. Hey, whenever you get close to losing someone you know you really shouldn't do, you start sweating profusely. At least is what I have. I'm not sure if Classic has the same thing. I bet most people have the same thing. You know, your body temperature gets significantly higher. You start imagining the many scenarios that could play out in the future. Mainly all of them involving you losing. Your family disowning you because you lost to someone that is supposed to be worse than you. Like, TY is not supposed to beat Classic, you know? Classic is the third best player in Korea when it comes to PROTOSS. Probably the fourth best PROTOSS worldwide. I'm not even sure if TY makes it in the top 15 of Terrans. He's 5'8" on the ladder. 5'8". Like, MECHS' off-race is higher on the ladder. And MECHS' off-race is not in the GSL. Here comes Purification Nova. Second one being sent out over here. As, well, this looks like an okay-ish defensive fight, as long as the Disruptors stay alive. That one just gets rallied in for no reason. Big Zealot run by as well coming in right now. The moment Classic actually gets to do a little bit of multitasking, he seems to be doing quite a fine job. Gives up this base, which is probably the right call. Like, TY is pretty all-in with this as well. It's not super all-in. You can just throw down an armory and be fine. Did he not build any ghosts yet? Okay, there's 3 ghosts out. Didn't quite see. Oh yeah, of course, I saw the EMPs go down. That's stupid. My bad. I think Armory, second eBay here, should be in the workshop. There we go. Forge CC, perhaps landed down somewhere. Triple Disruptors at a time. This is the type of move. If you're in 3 base building, 3 Robo Disruptor, you don't really respect your opponent's micro that much. It's like, or you're just hoping that your opponent doesn't know how to micro. You're like really far behind. It's okay, pure Disruptor. Let's go. Please let it work. I mean, I respect that call. I think I've done this before in the past as well. It's like, yeah, there's 12, 13 Disruptors. You try to get map control. And if you have this many Disruptors and map control, it actually can be quite good. TY's micro is good though. Like, that's the one thing I'm not worried about when it comes to TY most of the time. He has good control. His in-the-moment splits, of course, not as good as someone like Maru or Clem, but he knows what to do. All right, he knows what to do. Absolutely. Liberators moving into position as the Disruptors are now knocking on TY's door. 2-2 has started. I think Classic actually has done a phenomenal job here, coming back into this game, which... I'm not saying it shouldn't have been possible, I'm just... I think in an evenly matched game, this wouldn't have been possible. I don't think so. I think Classic made a huge blunder there in the early stages of the mid-game. And now he's paying for that blunder. And he's trying to get back, and he's trying to do something, but it's so freaking hard. Okay, here we go. That's a fight. Defensive fights with high Disruptor counts are usually not very good, though. They're very difficult to execute properly. And one of the reasons is because you can't really split your army. So even if you're winning this fight, this is the type of thing that will always end up happening. There's really very little you can do about it. Liberator should be sieging up. Mine should be sieging up as well. I'm not sure why it isn't. Recall is available, but recalling with Disruptors is extremely scary because they don't have any instant damage output. So yeah, like... The moment you don't have map control, the moment you're not shooting balls at your opponent, Disruptors legitimately suck. Like, defensively, Disruptors are not it. Aggressively, Disruptors are brilliant, but we're not working with aggressive Disruptors here. Big lift up, double scan, seeing where that army is going. As the libs now move in towards the natural, that means that some stuff is going to end up dying. Now, of course, TY just knows that as long as he's taking workers out, as long as he's on the map, he's going to be in a completely fine position. Liberators here, not really being broken at all. This is so tricky to work against as Classic. He's trying his best. He's trying to stay alive. He's going to end up losing another base. His mines are moving in. Big blink forward. Libs will get cleaned up eventually. And the Disruptor count is still at 12. But the problem here is that well, there's no workers left. He lost 40 workers in the past 45 seconds. Almost averaging a worker per minute going down there. It's not great life expectancy if you're coming fresh out of the Nexus. All right, guys. But, yeah. 2-2 about to finish up as well over here. I mean, this game is fairly over. This game is just fairly over. Is there 8 barracks? How did he get that? Okay, actually they get the 8 barracks out. That's kind of cool. I wouldn't mind seeing +3 start either, but there's a lot of energy on these orbitals. 5th base flying over. I mean, it is 1 mining base against 2.5 mining bases. Not a great look here for Classic, that's for sure. Here comes a flank. As it's 195 supply against 134. 97 armor supply against 129 though. So perhaps with some good disruptor shots. And this is starting out pretty okay. Needs to catch the flank. Will not quite get it. Believe that this was all there was. But that wasn't quite the case. Classic has lost absolutely everything at this point. If TY was aware of this base, he would have taken it out as well. He just doesn't know about it. As this planetary survived for now. The Observer did not survive for now. And the fact that TY can just send like 80 supply casually across the map, I think that pretty much tells the tale over here. Planetary probably will end up going down at some point in the near future. There's still some tanks in the back that should help out. This assimilator is being attacked right now. There is recall availability, but the moment you recall back home, you pretty much give up your aggressive position. Okay. Goes in towards the main base. Maybe. This is going to be the thing that saves me. A couple of Marauders will end up going down, but no. Bio just a little bit too strong against these Stalkers. As 3 Disruptors on the low ground now moving through the tank line. And well, actually, Bio did get cleaned up completely, but there's still so much on the other side. Tanks moving back home as there's more and more production coming in as well. Don't forget about that. Like, usually production isn't great at fighting things, but if it's just pure Stalker, you might get 1 or 2 Stalkers still, right? Tanks are sieging up, more Marauders popping out, and this is truly going to be it this time around as the tank is being, I mean, Classic is being styled on him just a little bit at this point. Look at this. Oh my god, TY, you prick. 7 kills on that bad boy. It's going to end up falling, but it's a 144 supply, the 36 as TY, the man, the myth, the legend, is going to take the win here in this GSL series and advances on to the next round, which is really impressive. Impressive play, kind of old school, new school strategies, and mainly old school, honestly. Can't believe he won with Mech, but he's done it. I'm looking forward to see what he gets to, you know, what he has to offer later on in the tournament. But this has been a fabulous start so far. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Big shout out to the GSL for providing me with all of those replays. You too can get them by going to their patreon.com/GSL. Also supports the tournament, supports the player. So be sure to check that out if you haven't yet. And that's going to be it for me today. Be sure to hit the like button as well. Subscribe to the channel. And I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye-bye.